So yesterday also we discussed about the DB stop and start procedures, database stopping and database starting procedures we discussed it. So HDB stop, HDB start procedures. Then we added to the HANA Studio. HANA Studio is the one of the administration monitoring tool to monitor the HANA databases, and also we can perform the other administration activities in the systems, right? Whenever you log in, whenever you log off and log in, whenever you close and open, it will go to the hash color, which means you need it means it's not down. So you need to reconnect it. Double click it, then it will ask the user ID and the password, then enter the user ID and password, then it is connected. See here, it is connected here. So that is the reason. Don't simply say like, so system is down, something like that. So whenever you close the HANA Studio and open it, then you see here HANA Studio, it will be connected to the here, right? So that you will ask the user ID and password here, right? So as part of the yesterday's class, we discussed about the HANA database. So administration part we are discussing here. The first page we are discussing about the overview page here, right? In the overview page, we are discussing about the list of services which are available, OS name, OS kernel, hardware manufacturer, HANA used memory, resident memory, CPU memory, disk usage. So all these things we are discussing, right? Disk means, so as part of the HANA, so we have /HANA data volume, /HANA log volume, /HANA shared trace volume. So these all the file systems levels, we will check it out here. So then HANA memory areas. So we have the separate session for the HANA memory. HANA used memory means how much memory HANA is using it here, right? Resident memory means what is the total RAM size here, right? CPUs, how many CPUs it is using, what is the CPU utilization. Currently, so all is well, right? All is green status. So we don't need to worry about that one. So go back to the previous next tab, that is the landscape tab here. In the landscape tab, we see list of process here. List of HANA core process here. Compile server, main server, index server here. So all the process related status we can see it here, right? So how it is behaving, so whether it is restarted or not. So what is the memory it is using, how much memory, what is the thresholds it is reached. So all the information. Then we configure the alerts also, alerts configuration, right? Alerts configurations. Suppose if you are not in the shape, your number is there, continuously we are not in front of the HANA Studio, right? Maybe we will be in the checking the other things as well, right? Other things means we are checking in the emails, responding to the emails, that one. So if the alert also generated via email, so then we are good, right? So we can immediately log into the system and we can check that, we can respond to that one. Is there any CPU, memory, services are restarted, any server is down, all the information we can track it here. So this is the alerts configuration. We can configure the alerts here, right? Go to the alerts here, configure it. You can configure the alerts here. So here you need to configure your sender email address, right? Sender email address, then SMTP server. This is the very important. So this SMTP server is the your organizational mailbox server, SMTP server. Normally your organization has one, every organization has one mailbox to receive the emails. Same as like here, SMTP server, you need to add it here, SMTP server, so that you will get the emails. You will get the emails from that SMTP server. Suppose like here, so google.smtp one open source the smtp.com I have given here. So here the just one dummy example I have given here, right? So that whatever the recipients you maintain here, so this recipients will get the emails here. So as soon as any error generated here, immediately he will get the email from this one through SMTP server. He will get the emails to the here, right? That is what we discussed up to yesterday's class here. The next class is the performance tab. It's a very, 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 very important tab here, the performance tab here. In the performance tab, here whenever, whatever the users are logging to the system, HANA system. Suppose if I log into the system, then one session will be generated here. So means if I log into the system, one session will be generated here. If you log in, one more session. If other persons log in, session. So means each person, one session will be generated. So we can see here what is that session, who is that person, what application he is using, what is the application version he is using. So what is the user? So currently I logged in with my user and Shiva logged in with the Shiva user, right? What is the database user he is using and what is the IP? All the details we can get it from the here, right? All the data we can get from here. That is called the session. Means whenever hundreds of people log in, then hundreds of sessions will be created here, right? All the details we can get it from here. All the details we can pull from in the sessions details, right? Then whatever you are doing after you log in, one session will be initiated. Then after that, you are working on the multiple things, multiple tabs. Then in this case, so each session will initiate the multiple threads. Depends upon the use case. Once you log into the system, one session is initiated. Then you are only in this screen, no, right? You will open the multiple screens, multiple sessions, multiple activities, everything you will do, right? Sometimes you will be in the console, sometimes you will be different things, you will open it, right? So each session, it will open the multiple threads, right? Each session, it will open the multiple threads here. So that suppose if I see here, so for me, for my session, it's using the multiple threads it initiated. So one is the SQL query parallel execution. So something like that. It is using the multiple queries it is executing. So my user executing here. So, but if I see one more session is there here, that is called the Shiva session. So one more person is there, Shiva, right? Shiva is the user. So in the Shiva session, Shiva is not there here now. He is offline, right? So that is the reason his name is not showing in the threads list. Why? Because he is not actively looking anything now currently. He is only connected to the HANA Studio, then he logged off. He is only connected to the HANA Studio, then he is logged off. He worked up to yesterday, then he is logged off, as I can see. So maybe, so where can I see here? Yeah, no one is there here, right? I think Shiva is there. So Shiva connected here today, right? So Shiva connected. So HANA Studio, he connected Shiva. So that is the reason we can monitor all these things here, right? So we can monitor the application thing. So here we can find out if any performance issues in the system, your HANA database system is very slow, memory issues, CPU issues, any issue. So the first point of contact is the performance tab here. You have to come to the performance tab. You need to see which session, which thread is occupying the more, like suppose like here, what session, how many number of queries is extracted, what is the records he fetched, durations, all the how much data is pulled from the, so all the information we can pull it from so here that is called the threads. In the threads we can find out all the information. If we want, we can cancel this operation also, we can cancel it here. So whatever he is executing, we can cancel that session, right? We can also cancel that sessions also, we can cancel it. Suppose this user is behaving abnormally, suppose you want to cancel that session, we can also cancel that session, we can cancel it, right? So like that we can cancel our sessions. So because of this user, there are a lot of things are happening. Then if you want to cancel, just right click and there is a cancel session, right? We cancel that session, what will happen? That user will be logged out and it will create the new sessions, right? He will not, the user will not be available here. Like that, we can cancel the sessions from the studio, right? This is what the sessions and the threads. Okay. Here, if you go to the summary, it will give the clear information. How many active session threads, inactive, how many blocked one. One is the blocked session. One session is the blocked sessions, right? So here, like that, we can see the sessions summary, session summary. Total 5 users and applications are using. In that, administrator 5 sessions and Shiva is the 1 session. And database users are the 6. HANA Studio is the 6 applications. Application sources, they are using the, so here I am using the, so SQL console and everything. So Shiva using the backup connection and everything. So like that, each person, they are using the different tabs, they are using it here. So all the detailed information will be generated here. The detailed information will be generated in the sessions tab, in the sessions tab here, right? In the blocked threads and sessions tab, it will be generated here, right? So, and also the blocked transaction codes. So suppose if any transaction is blocked, that blocked connection ID will be displayed here. When a transaction is blocked here, the blocked connection ID displayed from here. So how it will be block the transaction codes here? So deadlocks will happen sometime. That is called the deadlocks, DB deadlocks. So suppose this is the one of the transaction code. So here one is the person is trying to access the same. This person also at the same time. So coincidentally is also access the same. There is a deadlock will happen here, right? Deadlock will happen. So that the deadlock related things, not only database level, application related connections, data also, the lock will happen here, right? So that the database level related blocked transactions, here we can see it here. We can see it here. What is the remote transaction ID? Who blocked it? What is the connection ID? All the information we can see it from here, right? That is called the performance blocked transactions. So SQL plan cache. SQL plan cache means here you can see the all SQL statements here. Here nothing we will see here. SQL cache. Cache means, you know, right? Temporary storage area. Whatever the statements are you are executing, all the statements will be stored into the your plan cache. Your SQL plan cache, it will be stored here. So whenever any request comes, it will check in the cache, then it will give the response to the users, right? The data will be stored to here. That is the SQL plan cache. Nothing we will check here. Nothing. There is no scope. But so here the main thing is the sessions and threads are the very important things here, right? The next one is the trace, SQL trace here. So suppose if you want to take the trace, suppose this session is running from long time. Then if you want to take the trace, then just to configure the SQL statement trace here. What is happening here? Suppose if you configure the trace here, the trace will be generated here. The trace will be collected here. The trace will be collected here. That is called the traces. Normally, it should not be active. Here, the jobs, if any jobs are internal jobs or any in progress, that jobs will be showed here. So currently, no trace, no jobs. That is the reason. So here it's showing the empty values. It's showing the empty values. It's showing the empty values in the systems, right? Empty values in the systems here. Someone asking the meeting limit. Okay. Yeah. So that is the cache, SQL statements, and job in progress. But in this tab, these two are the very important tabs here. So sessions and threads are the very important sessions here. So why? Because here we can track it. So what's happening in my system? So if any performance issues with your HANA database, the first thing you need to check the threads and sessions are the very important here. Threads and sessions are very important here to check the how it is behaving and everything. You can check here sessions and threads here, right? That is the main thing here. Next one is the volume tab. Volume means, so normally in the Windows level, we will call it as the drives, C drive, D drive, E drive, right? When it comes to the Linux level, we will say file systems. The same word when it comes to the HANA, volumes. Volumes means we have the data volume and a log volume. Data volume and log volume related information. Here nothing we will check. Here we will check the what is the storage total size used and available. So only these things we will check it out here. And what is the, where is the log is writing here, right? So that kind of information we can see it here. So okay, so that kind of information as part of the daily base here, the used space and total size should not be the same here. Means you should have the some free space it for data and log folders. Otherwise what happens, database will go to the hung status, database will go to the hung status here. So that is the main important thing we need to remember here, right? So that is the main thing here, right? So that is the volume tab. Volume tab, that is the one. So the volumes means data volume and log volume related information. We can see it here, right? So that is the volumes. So performance means if any performance issues, system is very slow, you are unable to connect it. So suppose some users are unable to connect it. So in this case, we have to come to the performance tab and see what is causing the issue, which session, which thread is using the more memory. Why? Because Hana, any process which is running in the database level, it's required the some amount of CPUs and memory is required. If one process is using the most memory, then it will impact the other process as well, right? So that is the reason we need to check the sessions and threads and blocked transactions. We need to check it out here. The main thing here, right? That is the one. Sometimes the people complaints like that my transactions are not updating at database level. So maybe if you check it here, that may be stuck in the blocked transactions list here. Then you need to just select it, and so maybe we need to restart or repeat or whatever we want, we have to do it from here, right? Normally we won't get anything here, blocked transactions or expense tracement. In case if you open the trace, that will be opened here. And jobs, if any internal jobs are active in progress, so that jobs will be displayed here, right? That is the performance tab here. So this is the volume tab, volumes, volume tab. Volume means your data slash and data size slash and log size. That sizing related information will be displayed here. So how much size and everything will be displayed there. The sizing related information will be displayed in here, right? So that is the main thing here of the HANA Studio, right? Next one is the configuration tab, right? So any questions on these two tabs from anyone? Okay. So the next one, configuration tab. Okay. So here, this is the very important configuration tab is very, very important tab, right? So why? Because in the configuration tab, here we will discuss about the configuration of the database. In SAP level, if any parameter changes are required, we will go to the RJ10 and RJ11, right? Same as like here, if you want to change, why? Because when you do the HANA installation, by default you will get the default settings, SAP recommended default settings you will get, right, during the installation time. So now you want to change that one. Now you want to change, like depends upon your business scenario, you want to change that one. Then how to change that one? So you have to come to the configuration tab. In the configuration tab, you need to change it here. All right. You need to come to the configuration tab. In the configuration tab, you have to change the all those things. You have to change it here. Right. So how to change it here? So each process which is there here, each process there is a INI files are there. So compile server.ini, global.ini, diamond.ini, index server.ini. Each process there is a INI files are there here. Right. So INI files are there here. So in this INA files, you need to do the some changes here. You need to do the some changes. Suppose you want to change the timeout parameter. Suppose you are not sure what is the parameter. SAP will provide you as part of the recommendation. SAP will give you the recommendation to change the parameter values. So for that case, you have to come to the here. You need to come to the here. Then you need to change it to the here. You need to come to the here. Then you need to change it to the here. That is what we have to do it here, right? You need to come to the here. Then you need to do. You need to change it here, right? So that is the one of the one of the important thing. Rare cases we will get the opportunity to change the HANA configurations. So here, if anything is you want to change it, either the path, either the values, timeout value, time in value. So suppose like anything you want to change it here, memory parameters, anything, you can come to the global configuration phase. Sorry, in the configuration tab, here you can change the INA parameter file value. So let me add systemdb also, but here most of the time we have to do it from changes. We have to do it from the systemdb only, not the tenantdb. Why? Because direct changes are not allowed in the tenantdb. That is the main thing here. Why? Because you cannot do any changes in the direct in the tenantdb. So any parameter changes, backups or anything, you have to take it from systemdb only. You have to take it from the system database only. You have to take it from the system database here, right? That is the main thing you need to remember here. Okay, system database only. Let me do it here. Why? Because if I do now, what will happen? Direct changes are not allowed. Suppose I want to change the some timeout pair. Few changes we can perform it, few cannot be performed here directly. So suppose you can see session history lifetime 60 days, I guess, means session history. Session idle timeout parameters, 24 hours. Suppose I will make it like, so 140 minutes, 140 minutes. So what that this is mean may, so if you made then the 140 minutes, after the 140 minutes, so the session will be disconnected. The persons who are in the idle. Why? Because some people, they are in the idle status, they're in the idle, they will log out, but still the HANA Studio session is opened, right? That is keep on inactive session here. Suppose like if you see here, the Shiva is connected, but still that session is active here, right? Still the session is active here, which means if you set this threshold, what will happen after the 140 minutes? Not only 140, maybe if you set the 2 minutes, after the 2 minutes, then the person is idle for 2 minutes. Immediately, that session will go to the inactive status. Inactive status. Like this, we can put the like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, like that. We can put that value, right? So like that, we can change the value, parameter values. We can change it, configuration values and everything. We can change it here, right? So that is the main aim of this configuration tab here, right? So you can also go to the systemdb. So normally we have to change all these things from the systemdb only, not the tenantdb. So why? Because systemdb is responsible to monitor the all the tenant databases, not the, so systemdb is responsible to monitor the all the tenant databases and etc, right? Anything you want to perform, monitoring, stopping, starting. Like if you want to stop the HANA database, so just go to the here, you can stop it, but you won't get anything in the tenantdb, right? So you won't get anything here. If you want to take the backup, here you have to take the backups, but here you won't get anything here. So anything for controlling of the tenant database can be done by the your ground floor. Ground floor means your systemdb. We discussed it, right? So HANA 2.0 is the apartment concept, which means you have this one, you have the in the one host. If you install the one HANA database, you will get the one database, that is the systemdb. On top of, you will get the G plus one, means plus one tenant database. You will get one ground floor and one plus one, which means one tenant db and systemdb you will get from here, right? So on top of that one again, if there is a requirement, then you can install, you can create the one more tenant database, you can create it. One more tenant database, you can create it. Like that, up to 20 tenant databases we can create it. 19 plus 1 already there here. Manual creation 19 and one more tenant like 20. Limitation is the 20 floors, which 20 tenants we can create it on top of the, so here 20 tenants we can create it here. We can 20 tenants we can create it here. So that is the main thing of the here, right? That is the main thing here. Got it? So this is the here. So system DB, the tenant DB differences here. System DB is only one. The tenant DB, we have the multiple tenant DBs, we can create it. Each tenant DB, we have the index server, then access engine. Index server, access engine. Index server, access engine. System DB, remaining 5 processes are available in the, so in the system DB, right? This is the main thing here. We need to check it out here, right? System DB here, right? So here also, if you see here, so here landscape, alerts, performance. So here many tabs are there here. So here also the same concept here. In the system DB also same concept. In the tenant DB also we have the same concept here. The concept is same wherever you go. The tabs, the configurations, everything more. But few things we have to do it from the system DB only, which means suppose configuration tab. The configuration tab, you see, so many things are there here. Many properties files are there here. This is called the properties files here. INI files depends upon your usage. You need to change the respective files, right? So here normally the SAP or during the interview point of time, you may have to change the few parameters here. That is called the memory parameters. Definitely you need to change the memory parameter. Why? Because one customer will go for one memory, one RAM size and different, right? So memory parameters. And also interview point of time, they may ask you the multiple questions here on this one. So what are the memory parameters you changed it recently, or what parameters? It kind of global allocation limit, global. So global allocation limit parameter and statement limit, right? Statement memory limitation parameters. So these are the statement memory limitation parameters and the threshold parameters. So these parameters we have to change it here. So here we have to go to the global.ini in the memory manager. So why? Because these are the, so almost a few parameters are dynamic parameters. Immediately it will be affected. Few are restart is required here. Suppose if you see here, global allocation limit is set to the 0, which means so you have the unlimited memory you are using. So suppose my RAM size is here. If you see the RAM size here, 35 GB allocated to the my HANA database. No, I don't want to allocate the 30 GB. I want to allocate the 28 GB only. Then make it and save it. Okay. Then come to the here. You can see here 35 GB is there. Then refresh it here. Then it changes to the 27 GB, which means your HANA database is limited to use only 27 GB of main memory only. So currently 8 GB. So that is fine, but because we don't have much loads, we are only doing the monitoring, some other activities only. So that is fine here. So like that, if you want to configure, if you want to do any changes in the systems, you can configure it here. So this is the few important parameters like global allocation limit, statement memory limit, statement memory limit threshold. But because sometimes what happens, SQL statements. Why? Because database level, how the data will be executed in the form of SQL statements, right? One statement will execute the 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. One statement will consume the lot of memory, right? So in this case, what will happen? So your database, one statement, one SQL statement is taking the 20 GB of memory, means others don't have much memory. Then immediately system will go to the system will give the trouble, right? Performance issues and everything. So that type of sessions you have to identify in the performance tab, which one, who collecting everything. And also here you need to limit as a permanent solution, you need to limit it here. Then you can maintain here the limitation. How means only 4 GB is for the, only 4 GB you have to give it here. Means the statement will use only 4 GB. Once it is crossed the 4 GB, then your statement will be cancelled. Your statement will be cancelled. That is what will happen in the statement memory limitation. Statement memory limitation, that is what it will happen. Right? So that is the major thing of the statement memory limitation. Okay. So that many parameters we can change it here. So if you don't know where to change it also, right? Then go to the here, maybe in the filter condition, just type it here. Then you will get the respective parameters here, right? Just type it, the memory related respective parameters here, you will get it out here, right? So now I want to change the 30 GB. 30 into 1024, how much you will get? You have to give like this, right? Then you can come to the here and see, immediately it will affect, right? Immediately it will affect the 30 GB, right? So like this, we can change the values of the parameters here. Like this, we can change the values of the parameters. We can change it from here. That is the main thing of the here. That is the main thing here. Changing the values of the parameters, we can change it in the systems, right? So that is the, yes.
సార్ ఇక్కడ మనకి అది డైనమికా లేకపోతే స్టాటిక్ అని ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది సార్?
Yeah. So
Value
here,
changes.
yeah, it's here multiple ways we can discuss. So that is my next one. So how can we check? Sorry, not. Right? So two ways we can check it out here. One is the help.sap.com. In the SAP site, we can check it out. Otherwise, within the HANA database, there is one table, one view, m underscore the parameters. There, restart required or not. That if the restart is required, then you will get the value restart is required. Otherwise, if you go to the here, so then let me search here. Maybe there is a one blog. From the blog, let me search it like this. So you will get the direct how to check if the system required the restart or not. Same note which we are talking now, right? So if you open this note, SAP note, same one, you can see how to check if the system restart is required or not after changes of the parameters, right? So there is a view actually. In that view, we can find out whether the restart is required or not. Here we can find out. See here. So here, so there is a, yeah, this is the one. General, the parameters can be found in the this link, right? The link which I executed here. So here you can see the parameters. Suppose here your global memory allocation limit, right? So global underscore memory, is it memory limits. So here you see threshold limit, statement memory limit, so total memory limit, all the memory limits are there here. So when you click this button, suppose you are changing the statement memory limit. When you click this button, it will go to the next screen here. Here it will give the information, which means is a restart required or not. See here, restart required or not, true, right? For changing this parameter, which parameter? For changing the statement memory limit. So you can see here, restart is required or not, false, which means you no need to do the restart here, right? So for changing this one, false. For changing this one, false. So almost that false only few you will get the yes, true. So maybe we'll check it out. What is the true? Yes. So see here, for this parameter, so grant data, this is the one of the one. To change this parameter, you need to do the restarts here, right? The next one also, and also the listening port. If you want to change this parameter, you need to do the set to the true, right? So this way we can find out here. This is the one way, right? Generally the parameters convey. So under the required restart column, if it is the true, restart is required. If it is the false, restart is not required here, right? Otherwise, you can go to the system here. There is a configuration values, m underscore configuration parameter values. If you execute this statement here, then a restart required or not, false, false, false. Then this restart is not required for this one, right? So this is the way we can find out whether whether this one is required restart or not, whether this parameter required restart or not. We can find out two ways. One is the system level, you can execute the parameter values, you can execute it. Otherwise, just to go to the your blog, HANA blog, this configuration parameter index blog, there you will get the required information. You will get from there. Okay, So that is the one of the thing here. Okay, got it? So normally, how we will come to know which parameter we have to change it here. Normally, if you see the EWA recommendations, which is coming from the solution manager, or sometimes your customer recommend you to change the parameters. In one case, due to the as part of the issue, sometimes what happens, you have not correctly set the global memory limit statement in memory limits. Because of that reason, the system got restarted. Why? Because one of the statement, one of the query used the huge memory, that query used the huge memory. So that is the reason it took the longer duration. So in that case, what we can do here, in that case, so if you set these parameters, so that will not happen. The memory issues, CPU, that issues will not happen. That is the reason we need to set that value of here, right? The next one is the system information, right? Is it clear? The configuration tab. So in the system, if any changes you required, you have to come to the here, you need to change the configuration tab, you have to change it here. So here definitely the parameter should be available here. If you don't remember, then in the filter condition, just type it, some word, timeout, some word. If you timeout, all the timeout settings related parameters will be displayed here, right? All the timeout parameter settings will be displayed here. Here you can check it out, what parameter you need to change it here, everything here, right? So based on that, set it. So double click it and change it. Double click it and so change it to the some value, whatever the recommended value, you can change it to the new value here. Click on save button, that will be saved. All right. The idle timeout kill 300 seconds, but I changed it to the 301 sessions. Right, like that. If you can change the any value, you can change it, but check it out that is required restart or not. If restart is required, then you need to do the restart, then that value will be affected. Otherwise, you don't need to do the restarts. Okay, this is the way we need to change the configuration of the parameters here, right? So next one is the system information. So I will pause it here. So okay, system information means it's nothing, just to DB level information. It kind of predefined SQL statements. Instead of you searching all these tabs, if you need some history, I want to know the connections details, just right click on here, just click execute it. You will see the list of connections which are there in the system. All the information will be displayed here. So I want to know the database information. Just click on the execute it. You will see the database related information and all those things here, right? So like that, you will get the data. You want to know the how many size of the tables on the disk. Database level data will be stored in the form of tables, right? The table name, disk name, session name, all the information is available here, right? That information we can see it here. Then used memory by tables here. Used memory by tables here. So how much memory it is using, that memory we can find out from here. So kind of reports related information we can find out from workload, total workload. So size. So the kind of information we can find out from the in the system information tab. In the system information, we can find out this type of information we can find out. Okay, that is the main thing of this one.
Logs.
Sorry,
Recorded logs. So what is recorded logs? Here, recorded logs is there.
okay,
But
so
overall,
the log entries. So something like deadlocks we have seen, right? That is the log entry. So here in the Hana Studio, we see in the performance tab, there is a blocked logs, right? Blocked transactions means the log entry will be exist here. So that log entry here we can see it from here. So any information in the database level, you can find out from the system information tab. It kind of mini statements. Why? Because each step here there is a one SQL command. Instead of you executing SQL commands, SAP, so they have already predefined with one query. They have saved it as the one SQL query. They have saved it as the here, so that if you execute this query, you will get the same output. Or if you directly go to the here, if you execute it, you will get the same output here, right? same output you will get it out from here. So this is the main thing here. So this is the system information, your database related informations. So suppose open transactions. Suppose you want to, your manager asked you to check the, are there any open transactions? Instead of going and checking in the performance tab and everything, just you can come to the here, just check it out, open transactions and overall the load. So lock waiting history, if any locks or waiting status. So all the information it will be showed here, right? All the information it will be show in the systems. This is the system information related sessions. So all the information you can see it from here. So if you are looking for particular one that is not available means, then that is not exist here. Then you need to run the SQL command only. So for everything, right click and just open the SQL console. You will get the SQL statement here. You will get the SQL statement here. In that SQL statement, you need to execute the SQL commands. So to get the output, right? To get the output. So that is the main thing here. So normally all the details here it is available. Whenever you want, you can check it out here. Otherwise, normally we won't touch anything here. As of now, no one asked me these questions. Like, can you go ahead and system information, check the statistics and everything. Only when we are checking the issue, when we are debugging the issue, that time we will check all these connections and everything. We will check it out. Okay. So that's it for today. I think I can stop it from today. So because still we have the 2 tabs are left. So this is a very huge time taking process. And also we have many things to discuss that we will discuss. Okay. So any questions till here, till system information tab, anyone?